I am. Oh.
Okay. 1983 World Series of Poker main event champion Tom McAvoy says, "Poker is not a card game with people, but rather a people game with cards." And so this shows how poker isn't a game of luck, but rather a game of reading your opponent and getting some information out of them in order to do better in the hand. So success in poker is achieved in how your hands are played and knowing when to fold and when to bet. According to Pokerology, a value bet is sizing your bet to get the most valuable to get the most value possible from a worse hand. And so in order to do this, you want to have a goal when you bet in poker. As in, you want to know whether you want your opponent to fold or whether you want your opponent to call. So before going through a hand, we have to go through the possible hands you can make in poker. Starting off with a high card, in this case the ace. 1 pair, 2 kings, 2 pair, jacks and a 9, 3 of a kind. Straight, which is 5 cards in a row. Flush, 5 cards of the same suit. Full house, which is a 3 of a kind and a 2 pair. 4 of a kind, straight flush, and a royal flush, which is the rarest hand in the game and the best possible hand. And according to Thought Company, the odds of getting a royal flush are 650,000 to 1. Okay, so going through this hand, we are the small blind and our opponent is the big blind. So the blinds are used so that there's always something in the pot, that way you can always get money at the end of a hand. So the big blind always goes last. And in this situation we're dealt pocket queens. So pocket queens is considered a monster hand in poker. The only 2 other hands that are better than this are kings and aces pre-flop. So what we're going to do is give a valuable bet that's 3 times the big blind. So that way we don't give away our hand, but it's still a pretty strong bet to get weak hands out. So our opponent here has 100 to call since he was the big blind with $50, and he makes the call. So the flop here is 10-4-6 with 2 hearts. So we're always first to act, so before we bet here, we have to take into account that there's 2 hearts. So our opponent could have a flush draw to have all 5 of the same suit, which would be better than our 2 queens. However, the odds of this are pretty low, and he doesn't have it yet, so right now our 2 queens are still looking good. So we do a valuable bet the size of the pot, and our opponent has 300 to call. So he decides to just make the call, and now the jack of diamonds comes up. So now there are 2 diamonds on the board and 2 hearts. However, our queens are still strongest since there's only a 10 and a jack. So right now, the only thing our opponent can have that's better than us would be a weird 2 pair, like 10 jack or 4-10. So we're still feeling okay about this, and I bet half the pot. And the opponent makes the call. So now the river card is the queen. So the queen could either be a really good card for us or a really bad card. It could be a really good card because, as you can see, we have 3 of a kind. However, now that there's 10 jack queen, our opponent could make a straight, which is better than 3 of a kind. We're happy because a heart didn't show up and a diamond didn't show up, so we know he doesn't have a flush. However, we still have to be afraid that he could have the straight. So we bet 500, which isn't a very high bet based on the size of the pot. And our opponent raises us to 1,500. So now we need 1,000 to call. So basically now our opponent could either be trapping us and he got the lucky queen on the river, or he could be bluffing and making it look like he got a straight. So now we have 3 queens, pretty difficult to fold. This sometimes happens in poker. And so we make the call, only to find out our opponent had ace-king hearts. So this means that our opponent was obviously looking for a flush draw from the beginning with his 2 hearts. He only needed 1 more heart to make a flush. However, even though he didn't get the flush, he got the jack and the queen on the turn in the river, which gives him the straight, and so he beats our 3 of a kind queens. And so in this situation, we could have bet more at pre-flop and after the first 3 cards came down. That way, we force our opponent to bet a large amount of their money that way he would fold. And sometimes the game just doesn't go your way, and it's all part of the game. The only thing you can do is learn from your mistakes, learn how to bet better earlier on in the hand when you're stronger, and just learn what to do better in the future. Thank you.